welcome back to my channel. So today I want to start us off by asking you a question. What brought you to fitness? What got you interested in moving your body? I feel like that's a good question, and over time our relationship to fitness changes. I feel like for most adults, me including myself, a lot of the reasons why we start working out is because we want to send a signal to our peers that we are decent human being and we care about our appearance and the way we look and we take care of our bodies. A lot of the time is also social conditioning. We get so many ads around like the sexiest men alive, the sexiest bodies, what is trendy. And then you start thinking, oh, I have to conform to this ideal to fit into the society, to get access to better opportunities, to get access to a better mate. And that's a way for me to signal my value in this society. A lot of time is also, social conditioning. It's summer, bikini body. Let's do this 6-week stretch to get you ready for summer. So it's a lot of like social conditioning, but it's also a lot of internalized mindsets around how looking a certain way makes us look more attractive, more suited to be in society, and gives us access to better opportunities. But I think when I think about kids, if you think about it, they start moving very early without even you having to tell them. Like, if you think about kids, play is part of what kids do. Kids are always running all over the place. They're doing squats, they're doing all sort of movements, they're dancing, they're just so vibrant with life if you let them do. And that's something that they keep actually, for a decent amount of time until they start being more sensitive to social conditioning and social cues, maybe that they get from their parents sometimes. But kids inherently move. They run with each other, they play games, they invent games. I remember playing games and like when I was in school, with my friends, like when we were having breaks during the school day, like we were always outside running all over the place. So we didn't even have to think about fitness. It was just part of our life, and it wasn't fitness, it was play. I've always loved movement. Like I said, I've been doing it since I was a child, but I was doing it in a way that was very like robotic. Oh, done with work, I have to go to the gym and like get my reps in, right? And then I would say 3 to 4 years ago maximum, my relationship to movement started changing when I started to get interested more into activities that really that really interested me. For example, dancing. I got into dancing for a couple of years, met some amazing people, did some shows. I even danced in the street, I was doing battles. It was so much fun. We were going to parties all the time. So for me, I didn't even think about going to the gym because I was dancing so much and I was always so tired from dancing, but also so happy that I didn't have to think about, oh, I need to train to look a certain way. Like I need to do all this stuff because this was already being taken care of and fulfilling me in other ways that I didn't even think about it. And then, at that time, I got kind of good at it. So I was like, okay, let's see what else can I explore, right? So I started getting into handstands. At that time, I got my yoga certification as well, and I realized that I was actually really good at arm balances, and that was something that I liked. So I started doing more of those. Handstand became a very big journey for me. So I was like, okay, I need to train for my handstands. And at that same period, I started really researching sports, researching athletes, professional athletes. What do they do? What do their bodies look like? What are their characteristics? How do they work out? And that really interested me because at that point it was about mastery of whatever movement pattern I was doing at that time, mastery of whatever activity I was doing at that time. So I got really into MMA, started researching, some of the best MMA fighters in the world, what were their routine, what type of movements they were doing. I was very interested in that. I was watching videos of like physiotherapists, looking at an athlete's body and highlighting how their body adapted to movement. And that's when I started realizing that, strength is sport specific. And that is, I think, the most important thing you have to remember for this video. And that answers the question of why I don't train for aesthetics anymore, because strength is sport specific. So if you focus on honing a skill, an activity that you really enjoy, well, you don't have to optimize for aesthetic, because your body will adapt in order for you to be the best at that activity. Your body will optimize to make you the best at doing this thing. So for example, right now I do a lot of calisthenics, so my upper body is pretty developed, because that's what the sports required. And if you think about it from a training perspective, for me, it wasn't, my training schedule was not about, oh, I have to train legs and then I have to train, core, and I have to do like my back and stuff. No, my training was specific around, okay, right now I'm working on like a pull-up, so I have to do training specifically around the pull-ups. Right now I'm working on like an archer push-ups, like I have to work on training that is specific to an archer push-up. So that really also helped in scheduling and orienting what my training would look like, because I actually had goals. So my goal wasn't that body that would change, that perfect body that was changing depending on the season, depending on the year and the trend. My goal was, I have to get this specific skill. What do I need to do in order to get there? And from that moment on, I started being okay with what my body looked like, because for me, it wasn't about, I need to have abs. I don't have abs. Like, I don't think I've ever had abs. Maybe like in the morning after like a fast or something, like, I'm super like, I have a little bit of something, but I don't really have abs, right? But I started being okay with that, because I could recognize everything that my body was doing, and I was so grateful for it. I was so grateful for going through injuries, not executing movements perfectly, skipping warm-ups, and my body being able to bounce back from that and still allow me to do things that were fun for me, and also recover throughout that phase. So I started noticing all the little things that my body was providing me with, and all the joy that was giving me through the ability to dance with some of my friends, through the ability to do some push-up challenge with some of my friends, to work out as a community, to do all these things that were so important to me and made me feel connected and made me feel like I was growing all the time. I started to distance myself from aesthetic, and I started to be okay with where my body was, and recognize that it was constantly evolving to give me what I needed and what I wanted. So that is why I don't train for aesthetics anymore. I don't train for aesthetics anymore, because strength is sport specific. I train for sports. I train for reaching a certain athletic ability for my own enjoyment, and I take the body that allows me to get to that point any day, and I am fine with that. And hopefully you are too. Hopefully you decide, look, I have this activity that I really like, and that's what I'm going to pursue. And that is okay. That is 100% okay. Sometimes I go through seasons of my life where I just do jump rope. I just do jump rope because it's fun. It reminds me of when I was a kid in the playground, just playing. I'm like, oh, let me do this thing, let me switch. This is fun. So that's what I wish for you. And if you look at athletes, they all have different bodies depending on what sports they do, and their training is not, oh, I have to work on back today. No, they do the training that will allow them to strengthen the muscles that need to be strengthened, to support the tendons and ligaments that help them do their movement, to support recovery, to support elasticity, and that is all. They move on. So that's what I wish for you. I'll see you in the next one. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you around.